I wanted to find a story of adversity. So I want to tell you a story of a mother, a teacher, and her journal. So in 1983, there was a woman named Janet. And Janet was one of those teachers that we would all remember. Long brown hair, big brown eyes, an absolutely enormous smile with big white teeth. Her energy would light up a room. Her students absolutely loved her. Janet was a mother, divorced, when her youngest son was 6 months old. And in 1983, this energetic teacher with this big bursting smile and this passion for being the best mother she could be was diagnosed with a rare muscle disease called amyloidosis. Now, for those of you that don't know what amyloidosis is, each and every one of you, in your muscles, you have amyloids. If you have an excess of amyloids, you have a disease called amyloidosis. At the time of her diagnosis, there were only 2 hospitals in the United States that were treating the disease. This is the rarest of the rare. Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, the Boston Medical Center, the only 2 hospitals in the U.S. Janet chose to go to Boston to receive treatment. She shows up to Boston. She meets with a woman named Dr. Martha Skinner. And Dr. Skinner proceeds to tell Janet, "You are only the second woman under 40 years old I have ever seen or heard of having this disease. You have 2 to 4 years to live." Janet was in for the fight of her life. What was incredible is that through all of the bad news that Janet would receive, she started to journal. And she started to journal all of her positive thoughts. She unleashed her positive mental attitude onto the world through her journaling. And in the journal, she would write about her doctors. She would write about her nurses, the teams of people that served her. Then you would find a page where it would actually talk about all of the medications that she had to take every day, a full page of medications. She had to wear jope stockings to control the swelling in her legs. Oftentimes she had to wear a mask just to walk outside. The amyloids were continuing to eat away at Janet's muscles. But she continued to lead her children. No matter how tough the news would be from doctors, no matter how much pain Janet was in, no matter how many pain pills she had to take, she continued to lead her 2 children. She continued to write in the journal. Janet would have to go get treatments in Boston. And what Janet would do is she would turn those trips for treatments. Literally, there was no cure for this disease. The amyloids were eating her muscles. Janet was slowly dying. And she would turn this trip for treatment to Boston into a family trip. She would take her boys with her. She would take her boyfriend Alan with her. She knew that her boys enjoyed Chinese food. She'd take them to Chinatown. She knew that her boys enjoyed bowling. They'd go candlestick bowling. Janet made it all about the kids. Janet never let any adversity, any of her pain, ever stop her from keeping that smile on her face. She was a true champion of life. The last year of Janet's life, her bedroom, which was like a little TV room, and then there was a bedroom. Her youngest son remembered when 24-hour nursing care came into the home, removed all of the belongings from the TV room, and replaced it with 24-hour nursing care. Janet still remained positive. She still surrounded herself with love and the relationships that mattered most to her. See, what Janet always did, and it's really a choice for all of you, it's a choice for me, it's a choice for everybody, is when faced with adversity, what Janet would do is she would choose to reframe that adversity and look for a solution that would make her feel better about the situation. So there's two tools that I will teach you tonight. The first one is that prize fighter day, about taking action, figuring out the work it takes to fulfill your vision, to grow your company, to grow yourself personally. The other tool is what Janet used, and it was reframing. So the next time you face adversity, the natural thing for us as human beings is to just focus on the negative. Focus on the negative. I remember back in 2010, I shared it with Josh and with Nate. I had 2 unbelievable back-to-back paychecks. So in addition to speaking and traveling the world writing, I actually have a wealth management practice. And I could tell you everybody could take a really big deep breath because I'm not going to talk about life insurance, okay? So I had these back-to-back paychecks that was like me having to return tens of thousands of dollars in back-to-back weeks. My accountant didn't understand it. I was like, holy cow, this is like being in the ring with Muhammad Ali. I didn't want any part of it. Right? You all know what I'm talking about. There's tough stuff when you run a business. So this tool that Janet used is a tool that I had to use to just keep focusing on the work and the solutions to overcome the adversity. Each and every one of you can do the same thing to make it through any obstacle. So at the count of 3, to wake everybody up as we head to our finish line, I want you to yell, reframe. And if there's security, hopefully they'll come and throw us out. It'll be so loud. On the count of 3, reframe. 1, 2, 3.
Reframe.
That was weak. Okay, let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3.
Reframe.
And then you focus on the solution. So for each and every one of you in your businesses, you're all in different parts of the country, different challenges with managing people, different challenges with managing clients, but I would encourage each and every one of you to identify the solutions that work for you in your business. And when you face the challenge, repeat the solution. Repeat the activity of the solution so you can continue to head down a positive path. That's what Janet did. So an example of reframing. So Janet, every single night, without fail, no matter how much pain she was in, she would come out of what was once that TV room with the 24-hour nursing care, and she would look down that long hallway that led to the dining room table. And whether it took 1 nurse or 2 nurses, she would take that IV stand and she would walk down that hallway because she knew the most important thing to her was getting to that dining room table. Because the solution for her, because she was a teacher, was to sit at that dining room table and to be able to look at her oldest son, Drew, and to say, Drew, how was your day at school? And then after asking Drew how his day was at school, Janet, in finding the solution to make herself feel better about her situation, would turn and she would look me dead square in the eyes and she would say, honey, how was your day at school? The story I'm sharing with each and every one of you is the story of my life. The story I'm sharing with you is a story of legacy. My mother, Janet Fishman Newman, is the greatest champion of life I have ever known. Each and every one of you has so much greatness that lies within you. My mother When the doctors told her, you have days to live, she just continued to release the greatness that was just locked up inside of her to show my brother and I how we could make it through any adversity in our lives, just like you can make it through any adversity that you face. I'm not the only person with a story. Each and every one of us faces adversity. Each and every one of us has stories. I know this is tough stuff to hear, so I appreciate your ears. My mother on November 2nd, 1986, lost her fight with amyloidosis. But I'll tell you what my mother taught me, not only to reframe and to always search for the solution. There's so many lessons that my mother taught me, not only from the 7 years that I had with her on earth, but literally what is in that journal is incredible. And the greatest life lesson I learned from my mom still stands today as the greatest life lesson I've ever learned from anybody. It's not how long you live, it is how you choose to live your life.